Hey there! It's time once again for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365. This is a wonderful 2004 Abrams published coffee table book that's been surfing on my coffee tables for almost 2 decades ago. It was given to me by one of my best friends that long ago. And yeah, it's been a staple of mine ever since. It's a wonderful book. I got the link in the description if you want to get your own copy. It's great. And thanks for tuning in. And we're going to use this book for its intended purpose. We're going to read a page a day, and we're going to talk about comic books for a couple of minutes every day for the rest of the year. I mean, that brings joy to my heart, and I'm very happy to be making the kind of content that I like to watch. And I mean, I've been blessed to have grown up in the Bronze Age and to have had local comic book shops be part of that childhood and upbringing. And we also had the real spinner rack and the newsstand as well. So comic book stores weren't the only place to get monthly serial periodicals of these superhero adventures. But growing up here, I grew up in Boston. I had literally several to choose from, all accessible by me as a small person. And it was a different space and time. I could take the subway at a very young age. There was a downtown crossing in downtown Boston. There was one in Quincy. There's two in Harvard Square. 3 if you count Newbury Comics. Remember when Newbury Comics used to sell comic books? I do. It had back issues and everything, man. It used to be a real comic book store. But the golden age of DC Comics is a lot further back than me. It's from 1938 to 1955. The Silver Age begins in 1956 and ends in 1970. The Bronze Age, where I grew up, from 1970 to 1985. And apparently we're still in some modern age that started in 85. I want to talk more about that, but not today. We're going to talk about today itself, April 5th. It's April 5th, and this one is from Siegel and Schuster themselves. It's a story by Jerry Siegel, art by Joe Shuster, and it's from More Fun Comics, number 27, December of 1937. So it predates Superman, yet it's still a DC comic, huh? And the Golden Age. So let's check it out here. What do we got here? We're intruding upon these indigenous people's safe space and judging them. Yeah, that's why we don't go there on this channel. I mean, if there are problematic things to bring up, I'll bring them up. There's one coming up with Vigilante and his sidekick, his kid sidekick, who is Asian. But we're gonna talk about stereotypes again, and we're going to talk about stereotypes again and again while reviewing this book. Stereotypes are a theme. Consider stereotypes a theme of this book, or a theme of this show, because we have to confront these stereotypes head on, and the only way out is through, and we're going to get through it together. And I'm going to use my best judgment in every image out here. Because once again, it is, my show. And if I need to cover up somebody's face with my thumb, I'm going to. And I just might. But today is April 5th, and I'm not covering anything up. But we're going to be talking about this pre-Superman comic book, written by and drawn by the creators of Superman. So, looking into cases of torture and human sacrifice, Siegel and Schuster's intrepid investigator, Dr. Occult, he uncovers a cult of serpent fanciers accompanying the good doctor on this adventure. Cringy. I am so cringy. I love it though. This is my lo-fi charm. Yeah, that's what I got. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. On this adventure is a certain Sergeant Ellsworth, evidently named as a tribute to the pioneering DC editor and former cartoonist Whitney Ellsworth. Dr. Occult was created after Superman, but saw print first. He acquired a red and blue costume in 1936 at the peak of Siegel and Schuster's frustration over their inability to find a newspaper syndicate to publish Superman. When the Man of Steel finally found a home in somewhat less respectable field of comic books, Dr. Occult's days were numbered as if by an ancient curse. So yeah, let's check out the art once again. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. The only thing I guess, like, I guess I want to bring up is all right, I brought this up. It was population by year, and it's just July 1st, 1941 through July 1st, 1944. The United States population estimated through the U.S. Census. It's data, old numbers, and old collecting systems, and throw in even whatever critical theories you want to on this data. I mean, yet, is it reliable? I'll give it some mostly, I'll see, this is mostly reliable. Sure. That 1941, the U.S. population was 13.40 million, and in 1944, the population in the United States was 138.40 million. And in 1940, the population was 89.8% white, 9.8% black, and the rest counted as other. And that's just U.S. Census data released online from CBS News. That's my quote from my Google search, and I'm not. So yeah, so we have the United States has a different racial mixture today because time has passed, and we're still the melting pot. Cheers. But yeah, I mean, so is it problematic and odd that these white men are considering these indigenous people in a vulnerable community, living of a different standard of living, calling them heathens, and so it's like, that's like, so Dr. Occult must also, believe, in some organized religion or something. For this heathen means like, you don't believe in our beliefs or your, let's look up heathen. Why not? I love words. Heathen definition. A person who does not belong to a widely held religion, especially one who is not a Christian, Jew, or Muslim, as regarded by those who do. So yeah, isn't the Islamic one infidel, or is pop culture would have you believe? I guess I don't know. That's a good question, but yeah. So we have like basically white Christian men looking at these guys worshiping a snake and calling them heathens. Yeah, that's a bit it's a bit judgmental. What if they're nice guys and they're just like, that's how they do it, man. Just dance around a snake. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Gee, I grew up Catholic. We do something called Stations of the Cross. On the first Friday of every month, and we're supposed to not eat meat either. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to be a Catholic. But it must be harder to be a snake worshiper. So yeah, that was our look in the past. Our look into the golden age of DC Comics. If there was 138 million people in the United States in 1944, how many of them were of the comic book buying age, and how many of them actually bought comics, and who were reading these stories, and who had their interest, and who were they being marketed for? They're one of the most detrimental cries of fanhood these days is hearing, well, it simply wasn't made for you. Because these were made for everyone, so they could sell you their ads to everyone of the people, all the humans that were interested in this. So, yeah, I mean, that's the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. For today, we're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and we'll find out who and what we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We talk about pop culture, comic books, cooking, and spirituality. We do a daily gratitude list most days as well. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And bye. Cheers.